Hello everyone, this is Fred with Spotlight Dancers Online, and this is another episode of Fred Talk. I am sitting with one of my dearest friends and brothers in the Lord, Tobin Davis, who is the music director of Shadow Mountain Community Church. That is the church home of Pastor David Jeremiah. Tobin, thank you for being here.
Fred, always good to be with you. Thank you.
It is so awesome. Tobin, how long have we known each other?
You know, I was thinking about that this morning. I think it's 25 years.
25 years.
I think it was 90 Christmas season 95 around there.
That's right. That's right. Now you were not the music director at that time.
Nope, just in the choir.
Yeah.
Just a
Do you want to tell me how old you were?
I was 24, I think.
24.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, I was 20.
No, you were.
I was 20.
You had to be a little bit younger than that.
You know, I need to make sure I carve off as many. That's absolutely accurate. I was 20.
Okay, all right. Now you are one of the most gifted musicians that I've ever met, and well, you deserve that praise. When did you start becoming interested in music?
My family was musical. My mom and her family was very musical. My uncle. And so it was always kind of around. I kind of rejected it just because it was the family thing, you know. I'm more of an introvert still, so I kind of rejected a little bit. But just through music lessons, piano, trumpet, you know, having to sing at church as children's choir as a kid, you know, those things. But
right.
Once I got into high school and my senior year in high school, I started singing in the choir at Granite Hills High School. And that's when it just kind of really opened up the door. It took all the things that I'd had before, whether it's instrumentalist, and when I merged that with vocal music, that's when I really came to fall in love with music.
Yeah. Now you're a baritone.
I am.
Yeah. Now you're often not asked to sing bass, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Baritones don't sing bass that well, and I can't.
Although I was going to say you've been singing tenor lately because, as you know, there's a trend towards singing higher and higher these days. Yes. As you mentioned, I've known you since '95. What was it like growing up at Shadow Mountain Community Church?
You know, Shadow Mountain, it's wonderful to have a ministry that's very stable with its leadership because it allows everybody, you know, there's a consistency and there's consistency in the teaching, and that trickles down into the other leadership. So, you know, it was just a really safe place to grow up. Had good instruction both in youth group and being under Dr. Jeremiah's teaching since I was in middle school, I guess. So that was just a really healthy family church, and to be able to serve where I grew up is a really unique.
So are you born in San Diego?
Lifetime.
So you are a San Diegan.
Absolutely.
You're a native.
Absolutely.
All right. So now, was Shadow Mountain the church that you've always gone to?
No, but our family started attending Shadow Mountain when it was Scott Memorial back in '87, I think. And I started being I was in the junior high group back then. So before that, we were a couple other churches in San Diego, but so it's been home for over 30 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you actually been the music director at Shadow Mountain?
Well, let's see. This last summer was 16 years, if you can believe that.
16 years.
Yeah. I don't know. That's
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, how long have you been married to Lynette?
Lynette and I have been married 18 years. So.
18 years.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got married in August, and my anniversary of the church is in July. So both those, yes. And that's been a wonderful partner to have both in home life and, as you know, in ministry.
Right.
Lynette is my right and left arm.
Because I've had the opportunity to be the choreographer for a lot of the children's musicals.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a few. Quite a few.
We need more than our fingers and toes to count them. All those musicals. Yeah.
That's amazing. That I just, you're right. Time flies, and you look at it and you go, where to go?
Yeah.
Where to go? Now, Shadow Mountain is a very large church. Okay, being the music director for a large church ministry, what is that like?
Well, there's a lot of blessings. Obviously, having more people, resources to pull from talent. We have so many talented musicians in our church, and just really to be available to steward, helping people develop their gifts and then use them to serve the Lord. That's a real blessing. Some of the challenges is it's a lot of people. The blessing is a lot of people. And
how many people are in the choir now?
Pre-COVID, we have all these new phrases now. Pre-COVID, we were right about 185 in the choir. I remember, the 2 weeks before the pandemic shut everything down, we sang with the high schoolers, and we sang like 210 that day, and it was just really special. So I'm hoping, once we get back we can start building that back up. But.
Exactly. Well, now we also, at Shadow Mountain, we have a full orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And usually how many pieces are in that orchestra?
Yeah, between 25 and 35 generally. And sometimes, we get towards the holidays, I'll find all my string. You can never have too many violins, more strings.
Of course.
But really faithful, wonderful musicians, lots of music majors. Harvey Tilling, Houston, R.B. Anthony, all these guys who've taught and led music ministries.
People that I'd love to interview, by the way.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, you are a graduate of Point Loma Nazarene College, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Stayed in San Diego.
You did. And what was your experience like at Point Loma? Because you were a music major, correct?
Eventually, yeah. I changed in the middle there. Yeah.
Okay. What did you start with?
I was pre-law, so I was a history poli-sci major going in.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, and I just was doing music because I fell in love with it in high school, and so, I wanted to keep singing. So I started singing, and I really felt a call my freshman year to switch my major, which kind of created a little existential crisis. Like, okay, what am I going to do?
What are you going to do with music? Yeah.
But the Lord was in it, and He provided, and so had to do some retooling around. As you can imagine, not many things transfer from political science to music, so I kind of had to start over.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I know God uses all things.
Yeah.
You never know. Sometimes
Exactly.
you never know.
Yeah.
Now, you met Lynette at Point Loma?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was that courtship all like?
Lynette's a wonderful pianist, and she has a couple of music degrees in music education and piano performance. So Lynette,
She's amazing.
She's great. She's amazing. Lynette at school, she was the accompanist for everything. So if you want at the choirs, or if you had voice lessons, you wanted Lynette to play for your recital, because she just could read anything, and she was just so sweet. So kind of started with that. Talked to Lynette into joining choir. And then she would accompany my voice lessons when I was getting ready for my recital and stuff. And so we really developed a friendship first.
Right.
Competitive. We're both kind of competitive. So we started playing tennis and so, but in the music studio and then outside the music studio. But it was a 6-year journey before we got married.
Ah, yes. All right. So what did you do to propose?
Well, I wanted to surprise her. And so we were going to meet a friend, and I had this whole ruse set up, and the friend was going to be a little bit delayed. So I said, "Oh well, let's just go walk on the water." So we went to Harbor Island.
Oh, okay.
And I had Jordan go ahead and set up some candles and had some flowers.
Oh,
there.
very good.
So as we were walking down Harbor Island, which we would do sometimes.
Right.
That was not unusual. We came around the corner and there was some candles and flowers, so I proposed there,
Nice.
right on the water.
Now you mentioned Jordan. Now Jordan works at the church as
Yep.
well, and now he's an arranger, correct?
Yeah, Jordan does all the charts and the arranging, and
he plays
bass, he can play guitar, he can play piano. He's the musician of the family.
Oh, that's awesome. How many kids now?
We have 4 kids. Yeah,
right.
Emma's 17. Jackson
17.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because she just not too long ago learned to drive.
That's right. Yes.
Which was
we're still
that
getting
hard
used
for
to it.
Dad?
Yes. She's a great driver, but it's just hard on Dad. Yeah. So 17, and the boys are 15, 12, and 9. So.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Where'd it go?
I don't know.
Well, and
we're the same
because
age, right? we're the same age. I mean, how do we have these kids that are getting bigger?
I don't think we're the same age.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
Okay. So, with the idea of all the things that we've done at Shadow Mountain with the music department, I mean, one of my favorite was the fact when we went to New York and we got to sing at Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
A literal dream of mine, and I know a dream of a lot of other people. How did that come about?
You know, there was a producer, his name's Phil Barfoot, and he approached us, and he had talked to us a couple times. Hey, would you ever want to do this? He said, and he would produce the concert, but just let us pick the music and let us be our musicians and things. And it's kind of like, really? We would get to do that? So we prayed about it. I talked to Dr. Jeremiah, and he was very supportive, and so we put out that first feeler, and everybody's like, "Hey, let's do it." So
it was incredible. It was incredible. Night. Of course, you threw me for a loop. You had the worship team come out in front, which we weren't expecting to do.
That's true.
And that about scared the living daylights out of me. And then I said, "Wait a minute." I think the best thing that someone said during that whole event was, because a lot of us had a lot of nerves going into that. I mean, it's Carnegie Hall, guys. Carnegie Hall. And that prestigious reality was quite overwhelming. And yet somebody said something, and they said, the best thing to think about, it's just a church service. It's just a worship service. And that just lifted off the pressure entirely.
Exactly. We are who we are. We're called to be who we are called to be, in whatever venue, right? So
exactly. Now, we mentioned it a little earlier, COVID.
Yeah.
COVID's knocked us for a loop.
Yeah.
How has that been just an incredible challenge? I know it's been a challenge, but personally, what has it been like for you?
You know, we're very blessed to be able to, we're healthy, our family's healthy, most of the people in our ministry have been healthy, we had a couple people be sick, but I think it's the separation, you know, the process of music making is such a community thing, and that's the one thing that's just absolutely severed, is the opportunity to be in a room and create something together. And you know, that creating process is really a stewardship of what God's given each one of us, and so we always knew we loved it, we always knew we liked it, it's what we felt called to do, but that's probably been the biggest challenge, is that separation.
Yeah, what you don't, a lot of you may not know, is we've been doing virtual choir practices, which it's been fun. You know, you've had a lot of fun with it, but we're looking forward to the opportunity to meet together.
Yes,
that's going to be really fun. So we're praising God for that.
Amen.
The other thing is, so music ministry has meant a lot to you and your family. What kind of advice would you give somebody that has aspirations to be in the music ministry?
I would say find a place to serve, and then just do every job they ask you to do. Just be willing to do whatever. You know, if it seems like this doesn't have anything to do with music, it's setting up chairs, or it's a prop, I'm finding props for kids choir and musical. Just do whatever you can to get involved, because like you said before, which I think is wise, God's always using, he's accumulating all those things.
Right.
In your skill set and in your character that you can use in ways that you know, never could have foreseen later on. So one of the best things you can do is find a church and just serve and love the people. You know, you and I've done lots of different things at church, you know, and
well, now we've sung together in quartets many times.
Yeah.
With a lot of different people. I mean, you and I, beings that we've been there as long as we have, we've seen a lot of changes, believe me. So, but lots of things like that. What would be something that you would say was one of the most unusual things that you were ever asked to do while you were...
Unusual things. Cue the camel. You know, things like that. Anything involved with the animals. It's like, okay, we have a cleanup in the lobby. You know, all right. Yes, this is why I have a music major. But you know, hey, you figure, you just roll with the punches. But you know, like I was gonna say, you being a minister of music before too, and leading the ministry, you know that it's not. You know, so much comes outside of rehearsal and really outside of service. It's in the preparation, and even little things like setting up the chairs, make sure the room's ready, all those kind of things.
Well, and the other thing you also mentioned was the number of people that you're dealing with, and the understanding that you're dealing with so many different personalities and different things like that. And I know, as a music director, how challenging that could be when conflict arose. And that can be really challenging. Styles of music.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about Shadow Mountain is the diversity and the variety of music that we do. Now, what would be your favorite? Now, I've got a good sneaking suspicion what you're going to say, but what would be your favorite style of music?
Well, I mean, I would, like, if I'm in my happy place, I'm probably listening to a Bach cantata or something. To be, you know, I'm kind of a Baroque
See,
guy.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that. Okay.
So, I mean, that's really refreshing to me. But to say, you know, I'm like you, I enjoy also. I mean, I love country music,
Absolutely.
you know, listen. But as far as like something that's really fun, like a cappella, choral
Nothing
music,
like
it's pretty refreshing for me.
That's awesome. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is in the music ministry across the world, across the nation, one of the things we've watched is a depletion of choirs. Why do you think that's the case?
You know, I think there is a perceived expense or trying to economize. You know, to be at a certain level musically with a choir, it just takes work.
Absolutely.
And people are busier and busier. That's one of the benefits, I think, of COVID has been for us all to step back and see how busy we were and say, okay, as we add things back into our lives, let's do it purposefully and not just bring all the junk with it. So, you know, like you guys have been so faithful in you know, we rehearse every week, you know, for a couple hours. And it's a lot of time investment. It's an investment in music. And not everybody's been trained in how to, like, you may have a great singer, they say, oh, here's a choir.
Right.
But knowing how to interpret that and to get the best out of other people, not everybody has that training. So I think those are some of the reasons it was just easy to cut it out. But now it's interesting to see even very contemporary churches are bringing back choirs. Like Elevation has a huge worship, and it's a difference.
That's awesome.
It's a worship choir, but they see that benefit of, hey, let's get more people leading worship, not less. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you know, this has been great. This has been really fun. Tobin, thank you so much for taking your time to do this with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes another episode of Fred Talk. Again, let's keep the arts alive, let's stay focused, and know that the arts matter. Have a great day. God bless.